You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Even Republicans are now saying the GOP has gone too far, based on an article by John Stoll. Billionaire power is not a mood, it is a regime. The source of the story, the column's basic claim is simple: a small class of obscenely rich men is no longer just bending policy, but trying to harden itself into a permanent ruling class. It points to huge midterm spending, heavy billionaire support for Republicans, and the view that money is being used to block democratic accountability rather than participate in it. Who actually holds power? The real power in this story does not sit with voters, and it does not sit with the politicians pretending to manage the fallout. It sits with the people who can pour hundreds of millions into elections as a rounding error, then use that money to shape the terms of government, debt, labor, pricing, and public survival. That is a point the piece gets right and should have said even more bluntly. When private wealth can buy political insulation at this scale, the system is not influenced by donors. It is governed through them. The decision was not accidental. Nothing here looks like confusion or drift. The article names a class of actors who understand what they are doing and are spending accordingly. They are not trying to coexist with democratic limits. They are trying to up them down. The money going disproportionately to Republicans is not a neutral investment decision. It is a defensive operation. That matters because it strips away the polite fantasy that this is just ordinary capitalism misbehaving. It is organized power protecting itself. The people being hit by stagnant wages, high prices, weak hiring, and cuts to food stamps and health care are not collateral damage from abstract market forces. They are the population price of elite impunity. The framing problem. The weak framing in the source is not its anger. It is the lingering suggestion that it can be met primarily through electoral correction and congressional retaliation. Elections matter, but they are not the root of the disease. If billionaires are already acting like an organized crime syndicate, then treating the problem as a campaign cycle issue is a category mistake. The article is strongest when it stops pretending that tax policy alone can handle structural predation. A class that uses vast wealth to capture government, extort the public, and launder domination through little forms is not waiting to be nudged by a higher marginal rate. It is waiting to be broken politically. Democrats cannot be timid here. This is where Democrats have to decide whether they are an actual democratic coalition or just a management player for the same oligarchic order. If they win power and respond with symbolism, technocracy, or selective discomfort, they will confirm the public's worst suspicion that democracy can identify predators but cannot touch them. The necessary response is not moral outrage with better branding. It is institutional confrontation. Break monopolies. Break donor capture. Break the assumption that the richest actors are entitled to veto the public interest. If Democrats are too afraid to say that plainly, they will leave the field to people who are already acting without shame. The larger pattern. This story is not really about one election cycle or one billionaire. It is about the normalization of private command over public life. Once wealth becomes strong enough to dictate political outcomes, the republic is not being merely corrupted. It is being converted into a protection racket with ballots. That is the systemic error, letting concentrated private power present itself as ordinary civic participation while it strips freedom, drains public resources, and dares everyone else to call it business. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AutoNet for today's article, with the automated voice of Diana. Thanks for listening.